The tools today have changed. Take a look at your tools. Look deeper. I'm not here to really, speak just about Camtasia and Snagit, but get a tutorial, watch some videos, figure out how to better use these tools because you're sitting on more features than you know. I learned this today. So the stuff you already have, look deeper into it. It can do way more for you probably than you knew. Of course, Camtasia is a great example of that. I'm grateful to TechSmith and Matt for all the help. But yeah, before you sign up for anything new, research what you've already got. You're probably sitting on a gold mine.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are and wherever you're watching from. My name is Matt Pierce, host of the Visual Lounge. Today, we're going to be talking with someone who is a fantastic marketer. He's got great ideas to help everyone use visuals better and video better. His name is Andy Crestodina. I'm going to introduce him in just a second, but I want to say something here real quick, is that the reality is I'm going to go on a limb, and I think Andy's going to agree with me. Maybe he'll disagree with me, but the world is using visuals wrong on the internet. And if you thought you got it right, guess what? It's all changed in the last 6 months, if not. It's changing every single day now with AI. And so we're going to talk about that in just a second. But I just want to remind you, if you ever have questions, thoughts, feedback, you can always email us at the Visual Lounge. So with that said, let me go ahead and introduce Andy. Andy Crestodina is the co-founder and CMO of Orbit Media, an award-winning 50-person digital agency focused on web design and website optimization. Over the past 24 years, Andy has provided digital marketing advice to 1,000 plus businesses. Andy has written 600 plus articles on content strategy, SEO, GA4, AI, and visitor psychology. These articles reach more than 3 million marketers each year. He is also just a fantastic human, so I want to welcome Andy Crestodina to the Visual Lounge. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for that nice intro. I'm glad to be here.
Well, so glad that you're here. We're going to start where we always start with our guests. What's one tip that you would give my audience about using images or video better?
Well, I say this a lot. You simply cannot overstate how visual the internet is. If you're creating a piece of content that you hope connects, you need to fear long stretches of words. And the simple remedy is put something of visual interest at every scroll depth in your content. So when the words start to get too long, stop, think, wait, don't hesitate, spend whatever time it takes to put a compelling visual at every scroll depth in each piece of content.
Is there a defined length for scroll depth? Like, is it like whatever I can just I scroll with my finger, I go bloop? Is that how far? Like, is there a rough estimate of how far that should be?
Well, if you're on desktop, actually, analytics will tell you if the majority of your visitors to your content tend to be on desktop or mobile. But let's just go to the desktop. That's where you probably wrote it. As you scroll down through even your draft, as the one image is disappearing up through the top of the viewport, the next image should be rising up from the bottom of the viewport. So the idea is just that, it's like a desert and images are like water. Like, give your readers a sip. It's too hard to consume, and you're making their brains work harder than they'd like if you don't include enough images.
Okay. So I made a statement at the beginning. We had talked a little bit about it, but I think we're seeing a shift in the world and the internet, right? It used to be, we've seen lots of shifts in the internet, so it's not a surprise. But it feels like people are maybe getting it wrong more often now because things are changing. Agree? Thoughts on if that's right or wrong?
I agree. These things are changing. There are new channels. AI has changed how people use the internet. AI is like an upgrade to the whole internet. And for a lot of people, they are simply going straight to a chatbot and asking it for advice, for ideas. They're trying to find answers or researching a provider. Now, you got to pretend to be your audience for at least a few minutes every week. But if you ask AI to recommend a company in your category, the likelihood that you appear in that AI response is partly a function of just the size of your digital footprint. Are there lots of instances of your brand name appearing nearby those related industry terms that they just typed into their prompt? So how do we do that? How do you make sure that there's lots of places like digital PR? Like, it sounds kind of squishy. Like, I'm trying to I just want to get mentioned everywhere, but not just mentioned, but with the brand, kind of like links used to work or still do work in Google. Yes. And images are an opportunity because podcasts get transcribed, videos get transcribed, and these transcriptions get ingested by the language models. So, pro tip: anytime that you are recording something, don't just say, "Yeah, Camtasia is a video editing tool." Get really specific and add those extra words and put in a tiny elevator pitch next so that those words appear in close proximity to your brand name, because that's how AI works. It's a giant like probability matrix of like what's the next likely chunk of language in this body of text. So yes, now there, because of the new opportunities, this is a moment when we need to adapt a tiny bit our video strategy and include those extra words near the brand name. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, so I love that. I wonder though, and maybe this is my own kind of Midwest nice kind of approach to things. I'm like, well, gosh, that seems a little like I don't want to talk about I don't talk about myself too much, but help me relate this, because I think so. A lot of my audience is training focused, right? They're probably going to be thinking about like their internal systems, putting things on internal content management system or learning management system, and they're probably feeling like, gosh, I just don't know if that's the right thing. Even if they are customer focused, it feels a little hard to do that. So what advice would you give us about doing that a little bit better? It sounds like there's a pitch that needs to be developed. Is that something that should be consistent across these opportunities? Is it like, do we want it to be more organic? Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily make it a standard thing. I think that the way that it all works, you sort of want there to be a variety of language that appears nearby your brand. And if any of those training materials are going into a knowledge base that appear, publicly on the public internet, then yes, this is a moment when you should not miss the chance to just add a few words. You basically did it in the intro, Matt. I'm grateful. You already checked that box. All you're doing is saying what your company does, and then maybe next time say who you do it for, and then maybe next time you're like where you do business. So it's really just about being a little bit more descriptive when we talk about our brands. It's not, and I'm Midwest nice myself. You and I are both from the same region, college in Iowa, born in Milwaukee, live in Chicago. But I think that it may not come naturally at first, but those 8 words near the brand actually can make a difference if you're if you're doing these things over a long period of time.
So Andy, in your work, because you're working with a lot of different organizations, and I'm assuming you're consulting on this and helping people to see this. What else do you think people are doing or should be doing with images or video that is kind of ripe for opportunity that maybe they're not? Because it does seem like there's a lot of things going on in the world. There's a lot of change, and AI is a part of that. And I love this kind of eight words to maybe influence the AI to know you. But what else should we be thinking about from an image perspective?
Well, this one maybe not everyone needs, but I think that it's worth repeating. There are 2 kinds of pages on your website. There's the content marketing program where you're helpful and useful and Midwest nice and teaching and giving resources to everybody. And then there's the sales pages, which has more like direct response copywriting. And those pages are filled with answers and with proof points and evidence and testimonials. If you've got a video on one of those pages, this home page, the service page, the pages about your products, those should not be in YouTube, people. Please don't put those in YouTube anymore, because there's just too many ways for the visitor to click and sneak away and go over to that platform. And YouTube spends millions on UX testing to keep that visitor engaged and on YouTube. The suggested videos and notifications, you don't want them to go to YouTube. So invest a little bit, please, in a pro player for those conversion-focused videos. The explainer, the about us video, the story, the video testimonial. YouTube has no place on the conversion-focused money pages on your website. It's just not an appropriate tool.
So I want to go back to something you said earlier that I think, as I'm thinking about these videos, right? And I love that you just distinguish between kind of the content marketing, the content helpfulness, and the sales direct language. But you said something about pretend to be your audience. I think it was a few times a week. I want to dig into that a little bit, because it does seem like that's a content opportunity where, regardless of your role inside an organization, to start to make better content, which ultimately then does these things like influences the AI, allows you to be more direct and helpful or whatever it might be. So what did you mean by that? Pretend to be your audience.
Well, I've always believed that marketing is a giant test of empathy. and the best marketers win. And when the marketer creates something that answers the visitor's questions, let's take a sales page. I just call them sales pages. These are like your product pages, your home page, your about page, your service pages, the pages that are designed to persuade. If that page is not answering a question, or if that page fails to address an objection, or if that page doesn't provide supportive evidence to back up your claims, it's missing something, and the so-called conversion rate, measured in Google Analytics as the key event rate, will be lower. These pages really have to do a lot of work, right? They have to address this person's concerns. What are this person's concerns? So yes, it's a giant test of empathy. Analytics is always kind of a way to do that, to see, like, is the engagement lower, or can I improve the click-through rate of this call to action? But now, Matt, with AI, this is a golden opportunity, because you can train AI on your audience's information needs and then make a detailed, it doesn't have to be super detailed. In fact, it's a weird persona. Make a persona that's like a composite persona of all of your target audiences, because websites have to speak to all kinds of different people. And then give AI your page and your persona and talk to it about what's missing. What are the most important concerns this person has that I didn't address? What are the top questions I failed to answer? It's an eye opener the first time you try this. Make me a list of every unsupported marketing claim I made on my homepage from my persona's point of view. It will do that. You can basically today make a synthetic member of your target audience, and then give it that script before you shoot the video, or have it do a full page screenshot. Snag it's your tool, get the full page screenshot of the page, upload that to AI, and have a conversation with the AI about your key pages, the pages where that do or don't generate a lead, the moment of truth, the page where they decide whether or not to click a CTA and fill out a contact form, and just ask it, right? Just talk to it about that page from the persona's perspective. Super interesting.
Yeah, I love that. That's super practical, because I think, again, in all these audiences that we're talking to here on the show, there's always a persona, right? There's you're thinking about somebody that's out in maybe a factory floor. You're thinking about the person behind the desk. So I love that. What advice would you give here? Because I think we're still in the age of AI, where there are definitely people on the forefront doing a lot and pushing it, and they have learned how to design what they're going to get from AI. There's a lot of us, I think, are still in that medium kind of space. We're playing, we're doing stuff, but maybe we haven't got to where we built the library. And then there's the whole, of course, laggards of people who are like, I don't know about this AI thing.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing. I don't know. So thinking about these personas, or even thinking about that conversation you might have with AI with a full screen screenshot, what are some tips that you've learned along the way that helps you to get better results? Because I think that's always a concern. Like, I'm going to put in AI. Do I trust it? Is it going to give me what I need? Is it going to be helpful? Things like that.
Yeah, it's strange to me. The most famous and popular use case for AI is to have it write something. Make me a thing. I'm making this thing. Can you make it? And it quickly makes content. And then you basically just threw yourself into I think the least interesting and the most risky way to use AI, because there you've got concerns about bias and accuracy and, is this thing hallucinating? But really, I never worry about those, because the way that I'm using these tools is mostly to help me spot gaps and to give me better ideas. You could basically say to AI, like, I'm making a video on topic X, but I want to make sure that it connects. Scanning the internet, give me a sense for the ways in which topic X is not covered by the other big blogs and thought leaders and influencers and videos. And it will tell you, it'll give you new perspectives. It will put you in a better direction. It will help you find something you missed. So you basically just avoided all of the worst problems with AI. You kept your job as a content creator, which I want everyone to be able to do, by just using it as a thought partner. Use it as a strategist, an analyst. Use it to help you not make more stuff, but make better stuff.
I love that. And one, we like people keeping their jobs. We like to have a very human approach to how AI should be used.
Me too.
So Andy, I know, because I'm actually a reader of your blog. I get it every week. I can't say I've read every word, but I skim and find the ones that are applicable to me. But they're long and they're detailed, and I love it. How is your kind of journey, if you will, of using images and video in your work. You've got an agency that you've got lots of people that you're working with, lots of clients. How has that evolved over the last, let's say, a decade? Because a decade's not a long time in the world of the internet, is it? It is. It's
Is
absolutely a long time.
no, but I like that time horizon because I think we're a generation that has seen this change and like been through disruptions and recessions and tech changes and like new trends. Uh, my content strategy has changed a lot. Some of the ways in which I've adapted is that I've prioritized offline experiences. I love building communities. I love doing events. I love hosting events. I love being part of other people's events. I try to like avoid there being a big tech in between me and my audience. SEO, big tech is between you and your audience. Social media, big tech is between you and your audience. But there's lots of formats for content and channels and ways to do marketing where there's it's disintermediation. You can talk to them directly. But what's the next best thing? It's to turn on the camera. This I just every year I make more videos than I made the year before. I'm not really trying to make it's a gap in my strategy. I don't really do anything short form. I'm making kind of like long pedantic things that show you detailed approaches to solving some problem. That's just my approach. It's working well. So the cure for what you just said, I don't read every word. Text is just a little bit. It's a greater cognitive load for our audiences, and if that's the only option, you're really missing a chance to help them get your content in their preference. Topics are an information need. The person needs that answer, right? But formats are a preference. So if you make your audience has a problem, you're going to fix it. You're going to give them information and some advice and tips. If you only present that in text with an image at every scroll depth, make no matter how visual you make it, the person still has to work harder. They got to lean in, right? It might be good for search engines, and there's advantages to it. But if I'm serious about any topic, I will turn that thing into a video. I'm trying to make them a little bit shorter. They were like 12-minute videos, but I'm getting them down below 10 now a little bit with the help of Camtasia. Thank you. Your tools make everything in my job easier. Very grateful that TechSmith exists in this world. It would be a failure of the internet and of the economy if TechSmith didn't exist. I use your tools literally many times a day. But when you make the video for the thing, wait a minute. Like it is, watch time. I've got videos with hundreds of hours of combined watch time. People are immersed. They're closer to you. They hear your tone of voice, your body language. They can tell you're excited or you're skeptical or that thing was weird. If I write the words that thing was weird, you didn't hear it the way I said it, right? So it's just so powerful. It's so compelling. That's why we need these video testimonials, the about us videos, the explainer videos, all those things in those sales pages. You can measure the before and after and the impact. It's real.
Yeah. Well, Andy, as you said, you've been doing a lot more of these, and obviously it's always a challenge. It's easy. It's like the old Mark Twain quote, if he really said it. I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long one instead. It's true with video, right? I'm curious from your perspective because you have evolved, and I've watched that evolution. We had you actually you were one of the very first guests of the show when it actually started as a podcast like 5 years ago. But I'm curious for you, what's helped you get better's not even the right word I want to go with, because I think better implies like it wasn't good before. I think it was, but I think what's helped you to make that step in that journey? Because I think a lot of people have hesitation, right? They're afraid of they don't like their voice, they're afraid of the camera, they're afraid they're going to say, like, there's all these hesitations. So what's maybe helped you to feel more confident, more capable in being able to make more video?
Well, I don't know anybody who loves their voice. I don't know anybody who wants to see themselves on camera. You're not alone. I am, I wish my lighting was better, and I don't know, I might feel kind of shiny, and like, this is not, no matter when I'm on camera. And by the way, most of us are on camera for like hours a day now. It's called Zoom. We're all constantly on camera. So really, what's the difference? What are we doing here anyway? All you're doing is recording yourself. It's like a voicemail now, right? You're just making a video. You're just recording yourself explaining something. So, and you're going to cut it up anyway. And, that ripple cut, in Camtasia or whatever the thing, you just keep talking, just redo it. You'll be able to fix it. It doesn't matter. So press record and blow it on the first 5 takes like I do. So what? the stakes are actually really low. People who are worried about how they come across, or like, is this thing perfect, or can I tighten this up a little bit more? It's going to take a long time before you grow much of an audience anyway, and in that time, you're going to get far better at production anyway. So your audience probably isn't huge. The stakes are much lower than you think. It's really hard to get traction in any channel. So the key is to get started and just press the damn record button.
Hey, it's a call back to Brian Fanzo. Push the damn button,
I
right?
thought of him just now. Yep, that's a Brian quote. I just stole his line. Thinking of you, Brian. I channeled you just now.
I love it, and I love what you said that, because I do think there's, and it does feel like if you haven't made a video at this point, like, really, how have you not made a video? Like, you make probably 1,000 of them you don't even realize. But I do love that, right? That there's always a place to start, and I think. And tell me if your experiences maybe different than this. I do think the internet has become, an internet globally as a general term for the people that are watching, I think they become much more forgiving of quality, right? Like, it used to be, I think
Sure.
we might be seeing higher quality come out, and people are, ooh and ah over a lot of the AI videos that are coming out because they're pretty crazy. But it's like, I think if you are holding your camera and you're doing a selfie video and you're talking to your audience and it's meaningful and relevant, I feel like, generally speaking, people are like, no, that's good stuff. It's helpful. I'm okay that it's a little shaky, or maybe the audio wasn't perfect. You can clean it up in Camtasia, right? But like, you can do those things, and as long as it's meaningful content, right? And meaningful, I want to say meaningful versus good content, because I think meaningful trumps what we'd ever classify as good.
I totally agree. Authenticity is way, way more important than production quality. I know in Audiate there's a feature where you can press a button and it removes all the ums and all the spaces and gaps, and that's useful, and I like that. But I also don't want it to be super polished. That's not really what I'm doing here. That's not really what we're supposed to, what our job is. If you're a content marketer, even for those conversion focused videos, content marketing videos posted on YouTube, conversion focused videos on your key pages. The same as the way you consume video, dear viewer. You don't really judge based on whether the person said but you do judge if they seem fake, or if their content is really trite or shallow, or if they're off. I actually think there may be a benefit to not being uber polished and perfectly smooth and getting it all in one take. That doesn't your viewer doesn't care. I've never seen any evidence of that. And I have pro podcast editing, podcast production friends who say they like those gaps. They want those little words. They don't want it to sound perfect. They want it to sound real. And guess what? You can do real. That's all you can do. And that now, by the way, is the biggest way to differentiate, because AI is banging out stuff that's super perfect and it doesn't feel real. That's why it's not real. So be human. You have a face. AI does not. This is a moment when you can be different. And partly why you're different is because you're not perfect.
Yeah, great advice, and it is interesting to see as more and more AI stuff comes on board, and we're seeing more of it, that it is that perfection. Like, we hear the debates about, well, use an M dash. You must be AI because it's perfect writing to use an M dash, I guess. But then I've noticed in, like, even ChatGPT, if you go into the voice mode, right, they'll add some hesitations in, or Google LLM.
It does. That's right.
They're building it in, but but to your point, I think that this is what will set us apart, right? The stutter, the imperfection, the not saying it quite right. It's more human. Maybe it might be a little less efficient, but I think it will be the thing that will make a difference. So, well, Andy, as we are, go ahead. No, please.
If you ask me a question and you see me think about it, you're more likely to listen to the answer. So what's the benefit of having everything cut perfectly with no gaps or spaces or filler words? It's actually less effective, less authentic, less real.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Andy, as we get ready to move into our speedrun questions, any last things you'd say about using images, video, and or AI?
Well, I like the use of AI to spot gaps, as I mentioned. I think if you create a persona and then ask it what's missing from a thing, you're going to get better ideas for how to make a better thing. I really don't love the obsession with using AI for speed and efficiency. I love the obsession with using AI for quality. So it's a moment when we all decide our relationship with this technology. And I'm just a huge advocate of AI for marketing performance and training performance and making a difference instead of just cranking out more medium quality stuff faster.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Andy, we're gonna move into our speed round question where these are quick questions, quick answers determined by the roll of dice. So here we go. I'm sure it's every podcast you come to that you get a dice roll, right?
I'm worried. Yeah, these yes no questions. I'm going to do my best. Let's see it.
All right, well, let's go over to the dice cam. It's back up and running. So here we go. It is going to be question number 2. Okay, so here's the premise, Andy, that you obviously know a lot about SEO, content marketing. You've been in the industry for quite a while. You speak at tons of events. You run events. How did you get to the point where you and you're going to probably say I'm not a master of it, right? You haven't become a complete expert, but how'd you get to this point? What's led you to be as good as you are? And I will posit that you are really good. So we'll put trust. Just trust me. I think you're really good.
Well, I try really hard. If I have an advantage, it's that I was going to be a teacher. I was a foreign language major. I got a Mandarin degree, and my plan was to become a teacher. There were only 2 high schools in Iowa that were teaching that had secondary Mandarin programs at the time. So I decided not to be a teacher, but I studied learning styles and curriculum development. And I also volunteered as a docent for the Architecture Foundation here years ago, now called the Architecture Center here in Chicago. And I gave tons and tons of tours. So I've been speaking for a very long time, and I think a lot about learning and learning objectives and aligning, building lesson plans and trying to like change the audience's mind a little bit. Of course, that all aligns with persuasion and marketing now, but I don't really try to be like a great presenter. I'm not really a presenter. I'm never a keynote. I'm a session presenter, but I think of every one of those as teaching. That's what I want to be. I want to be a great teacher.
I love it. I love it. All right. Next question here is question number 1. Okay. So you work in an industry where things are changing rapidly all the time. You're always constantly putting out new things, especially as marketers, like there's always the next thing, the next trend. Where are you turning for inspiration?
Well, my clients push me forward. My team pushes me forward. I'm living in the real world. I'm not like on an island somewhere. I spend all day, every day, like in meetings with people who are trying to solve problems. So it is the rolled up sleeves. It's the feet on the ground. It's the actual practical application of methods and measuring their performance. That is how I know what to talk about, what to do, what works, what doesn't work. So I'm just very, very close to the market, and I'm constantly in touch with. Some days I have like 8 conversations with people who are really working hard at solving problems. So really, I have my clients and my team to be grateful for that.
Awesome. Love it. All right, here's our last one. Let's see if we get a good one. We'll get a real fun one. Okay, question number 4. You know what? I don't really love this question because we already asked you sort of this, but we'll go with it anyway. It's not as a fun one. What tip or best practice have you not mentioned today that you would want to share? Is there anything that you didn't get a chance to say? It doesn't even have to be about our topic, but something that would help us be more successful in the work that we do.
Quick weird idea. Make marketing improvements from the end of the experience of your prospect. So if your contact form is weird and confusing or doesn't have any social proof or evidence, fix that first. Then fix the calls to action that send people to the contact page, because the verbs might be generic or there might be nothing, compelling about it, or it might sound complicated or difficult. And then after that, fix the sales page that has the call to action. So work upwards, backwards through the funnel. I think you get better results faster. A simpler kind of lightning round the way to say this, Matt, is to fix the mousetrap before you go make more cheese.
I love it. I love it. All right, Andy. Well, I appreciate you being here today. If people want to reach out, they want to learn from you, they maybe want to connect with you and your newsletter, where should they turn?
I'm more active on LinkedIn than anywhere else these days. I've got I get a lot of noise there. So the blue button says follow. I invite everyone watching or listening to this to skip the blue button and find the connect button and just say, hey, heard you on the Visual Lounge. And that way we can chat with each other and connect and send messages. Also, Orbit Media is on YouTube. Also, orbitmedia.com. Orbitmedia.com/blog is where I post everything first. But I'm a pretty easy guy to connect with, so anyone's welcome to reach out anytime.
Perfect. All right, Andy. Well, we like to wrap up our show by asking our guests to give their final take. So, Andy Crestodina, what is your final take?
The tools today have changed. Take a look at your tools. Look deeper. And I'm not here to really, speak just about Camtasia and Snagit, but get a tutorial, watch some videos, figure out how to better use these tools because you're sitting on more features than you know. I learned this today. So the stuff you already have, look deeper into it. It can do way more for you probably than you knew. Of course, Camtasia is a great example of that. I'm grateful to TechSmith and Matt for all the help. But yeah, before you sign up for anything new, research what you've already got. You're probably sitting on a gold mine.
Great advice. And there's always and that's every tool, right? Like, I mean, PowerPoint.
Every tool,
Holy
sure.
cow!
Oh yeah, ChatGPT. I mean, everything. Google Docs. You can type docs.new and it starts a new Google Doc. Chrome. Just search for Chrome hacks and you'll find 10 things. Like there's so many things you can do on your keyboard without touching the mouse. But Camtasia, I didn't know. It has, I was using a third of it. And today I leveled up. I hope everyone else has the same experience.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I want to just thank you for spending some time with me in the Visual Lounge.
Thanks, Matt. This is great.
Yeah. All right. You heard Andy. I mean, there's so many things, so many opportunities. AI is opening a whole bunch of opportunities. It's not just about speed, but it's about getting better content. It's about making better things, it's about using your images that you're already going to make, the video you're already going to make, or you should be making, and using those to leverage them in more ways and better ways to allow you to connect with your audience and make those experiences for your audiences better. So with that said, we are fans of learning. We're so glad that Andy talked about his teaching experience and wanting to be someone who teaches people and helps people, because that's what we're about. We want to help you learn, grow, develop your ability to make better images, videos, use those in your workplace, whether you're making training, learning, development, marketing, you're doing sales content, whatever it might be. And as we end every show, we recite our mantra that, hey, we want you to take some time to level up every single day. Thanks, everybody.